In other major news that happened over the past week, Mohammed Kudus has signed for Tottenham Hotspur. The announcement video was actually a very good announcement video. I feel like
Popping.
good announcement videos are a dying art, probably because Man United were the kings of announcement videos, and now we lose our ginger. So everybody know
How you
falling
lose your
line.
ginger? If you say you know the fit sign players, or if you say you know the fit do the videos, or them sack
No, the
the
thing
guy then
is,
they do the videos.
the combination of all of them. They sack the guy when you do the videos. The fans too right now. If you sign player, we know they feel anything like we be dead goats. So
But why? But why don't you feel anything? The copium every see Arsenal fans then sign Gyökeres. See the way that my eye gets. Then them what
yes,
they do this. Them
they
what they do
finished
this.
second the last three. At the very least, they finished second the last 3 seasons or something. So they
Second, not
have
they
more
mean
to be
anything.
optimistic. They have more. We have 15th. What like if they tell me second on the minutes, me are 15th way they tell me second on the minutes.
You know,
Like how you
the
expect
signing
I
you
to
make,
react to
the signing you make, where you give up number 10, it comes from 16th to 15th.
So Mohammed Kudus signed for Tottenham over the past few days.
Yeah.
Since Kudus is probably like the prince of Ghanaian football right now, it's a major thing for us. And at the moment, if you're looking at Ghanaian players playing at the highest level, we have Thomas Partey was just released by Arsenal for reasons which we cannot go too much into. So now, if you think about it, Kudus is now going to be the Ghanaian player playing at the highest level in terms of the level of his club and everything. So it's a huge move. And it's funny because his West Ham time has been a bit hot and cold. His first season was very good. His second season was very bad. But it looks
really
like he's failed upwards. Underwhelming. But it looks like he's failed upwards because he's moved from West Ham to Tottenham for an even bigger fee that he signed for West Ham for.
Did he really fail upwards?
From West Ham to Tottenham is an upward movement. Like that one is not
the only
in question.
upward movement that I see in there is that you move from East London to North London. That's the upward way me I see.
He's going to play in the Champions League. Remember that,
bro. Let's just take a moment and really look at this holistically. This is a club that if they hadn't won this Europa League, they hadn't won a trophy since 2008. And then they just happened to meet the worst Man United team since the history of Man United. And then they fluked a 1-0 win and then they won. Great day for them. Their first European trophy or their second or whatever it is. But do you realistically see them winning more trophies from here?
Whether I see them winning more trophies from here or not, Tottenham is a bigger club than West Ham.
West Ham fans might not agree with that,
I mean, that one it no be for them to agree or not. As Tottenham, they talk about them, they've not won a trophy in there and there and there. West Ham, the most recent trophy they win, it not be that your Conco trophy you win this season where they take the step. And before that, when was the last trophy you won? I honestly can't remember. Probably decades. So, like, if you're going the trophy avenue, Tottenham is like, regardless of where Tottenham are, they are still notch above West Ham. If it comes to fan base, Tottenham has a bigger fan base. If it comes to stadium, Tottenham has a bigger stadium. So, like, on what metric can you use to decide that they are even on the same level?
Like, I just don't think. Look, it's a fantastic move for Mohammed Kudus because if he succeeds at Tottenham, that means two things. One, he's won trophies, and more importantly, he's been part of the core of people that have brought Tottenham back from wherever it was to wherever it is they're going. Tottenham have never been great, but what do I know, right? So that is the upside. And he gets another move out to probably a Liverpool or something. Because I genuinely think the Chelsea boat is sailed, right? Chelsea did want him, but I personally didn't want him. Not because he's not a good player. I just didn't see where he was going to play. We are too rich in where he usually functions. And it's not a knock on Kudus' ability or anything like that. It's just at a point for talent to flourish, you can't put too many good players of the same ilk in the same position and just stockpile them. Somebody will fall through the cracks, and it will hurt me that it will be more Kudus that we will do that to, right? So maybe a club like Tottenham is good for him in the grand scheme of things, in that he will get playing time because Kulusevski can't stay fit. So we know that that right hand side he can make it his, or he could even take over the 10 over James Madison, right? So there are variants of positions that he can play within Tottenham. But then Tottenham have signed him, and within 24 hours have also potentially completed the deal for Morgan Gibbs White. So how does that work? Do you see what I mean?
I mean, I honestly like I get what you mean because me the thing that I'm not too comfortable with about this move as a Ghanaian fan is that it's a little similar to what he went to meet at West Ham. I remember
Mm-hmm.
when he first moved to West Ham, we were having a conversation over here about where he's going to play. And everybody was obviously talking from emotions and saying, Kudus better pass Bowen, Kudus better pass Paqueta, he go play like that kind of thing. But realistically, like it's not just about talent, it's about effectiveness. If you ask me, yes, Kudus is a more talented player, at least than Bowen. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
about Paqueta, but at least Bowen is a more talented player. But in terms of what a manager would want from his players, Bowen would give his manager probably more from his position than what Kudus would, at least in the short term.
Mm-hmm.
Bowen is like a manager's dream. Tell him to do this, you do that, and he's going to give you high production. Kudus is still he's still a bit of a raw entity who is
Right.
still like yet to reach where he's supposed to reach. So it's a player for a manager to have. So before the West Ham move, we had this conversation and everybody was saying that he could play here, he could play here. In the end, we saw that after, particularly in the second season, he was shifted to the left, which was a very awkward fit for him because the way he plays, left-footed player playing on the left wing these days is not something that really works out too much. So we saw how that turned out. And West Ham also had a very terrible season. So
Right.
like it was just a bad season all around. So now he's come to Tottenham where it's a bit of a similar situation where you are going to compete with Kulusevski. Like you said, he has his injury problems. But when he's fit, he's one of their best players, if not
Mm-hmm.
their best attacker right now, because Son has fallen off ever since Kane left. Kulusevski is really the one
But
who has been
Son is still
carrying.
the owner of the left wing.
Even Son himself, there's been a lot of speculation about him possibly leaving because the Europa final he didn't even start, which tells you about how much his importance to the squad has dwindled.
Mm-hmm.
So Kulusevski, when he's fit, he's been the go-to guy most of the time in the attack. Madison too, again, similar situation. He also has his injury problems. But
Mm-hmm.
when he's fit, he also records very high production numbers. So again, it might be a problem if those two players are fit and in form for Kudus to shift them because in the end, you're the one going there, you're the new player, you're the one who has to shift them out of their position. So it's harder to be the person trying to shift the person out of their position than the person who is just trying to hold on to his position because at
So
least you know what you're getting from this person. And then
sorry to
also we are
cut you
also
off.
leaving out Brennan Johnson, who
Yes,
scored
and
the
I was
winning
about,
goal in the Tottenham
and
for
not just
Tottenham in the
Brennan
Europa
Johnson. There's
final.
also Wilson Odubert. Two there.
That one day, I'm not sure
You
say
ma-
it will be problem for
see
Kudus.
you
But
you you you. See again, and it's not because Kudus isn't better. It's because Odubert is already there. They have also
okay.
Matthews Tell, who they've signed on a permanent, or I think they've completed that
Yeah,
permanent
but he's going
signing.
to be on the left.
So then on the left, you have Son, Tel, Odobert. On the
I
right,
don't
you
even
have
want to consider him for the left because if he plays on the left, it means he's just going to have another tough time over there, just like a second season at West Ham.
Mhm.
So
So then
the
that
more of the
means that
focus is on the center and the right.
either he plays as a central midfielder or as a right attacking midfielder in the right pocket space, right? And look, again, I back
Also,
Kudus to be fantastic against anybody. It's not because I'm a Ghanaian. It's because Kudus is a supreme talent. And when he puts his mind to it, he can do some very special things with the football at his feet. Right? At the moment, I can't name three people in Tottenham that I can say, realistically, that with the ball at their feet, they can do magical things than Kudus can. But again, it is you have come into a new club who with already established players in these positions with a new manager. Yes, maybe that might be his saving grace. It's a new manager, and he's now about to teach the whole group his way of how he wants to play. And so based on that, Kudus might be able to impress and nick a place ahead of these people we've mentioned. But if it's a level playing field and everybody's performing well, it's a bit tough, right? It's a bit tough.
Also, one thing that we also need to consider is, like you're saying, it's a new manager, and Thomas Frank has been playing a three-back system similar to Amorim as Brentford. So last season he was pairing a lot of times. We were pairing in Buemo and Wissa up front as a front two, with Buemo playing a little bit withdrawn from like
the front.
Wissa.
So
but basically, it's like a front two.
Like a front two, but with Buemo a bit behind. So like a supporting striker role.
So that one can even make it more complicated for Kudus, because suddenly that's not exactly his natural position. It's more adjustments for him. Probably, if anything, then he would have to play through the middle. So like that one too is also another factor to be considered. But that is assuming Thomas Frank is another Ruben Amorim who that refuses to adapt.
I don't think so. He's if you watch his team, even the Brentford team, since he took over till he left this summer, they don't play exactly the same way every year. Every year there's a little tweak, there's a little change to the system. There's a little, like in the first season he was playing Tony up top, and then he was having high flying wingers who were doing doing off the ball runs off Tony. So they were coming into the half space, and then just Tony comes in, checks the ball, spins it and passes it, and they are going to get the ball. That was Visa and Mbeumo. When they sold Tony and I think they got this class, whatever his name is, guy, he changed it up a little. The last season he played this front two of Visa and Mbeumo. So definitely, I trust that Thomas Frank will play according to the players he has and the tactics that will help them flourish and do well and bring to fruition his idea of football. My only worry is not in Kudus' ability. It is whether or not he will become somebody the manager loves or somebody that Thomas Frank will look at and say, that's my guy. Because if they had signed Kudus and he had played maybe 2, 3, 4 preseason games before they started going after Morgan Gibbs White, I'll say, okay, fair enough. Maybe they need more. The manager has realized he needs more. But they signed him, and then like 24 or 48 hours later, we all had they've almost completed the signing of Morgan Gibbs White, which because of that, they've now taken them to man, I can be fucking guy. Them go cut. Say, how did you know about it? You will tell us today how you got to know about the release clause. The offer you made is too close to the release clause. It's too close. It's too close. You go tell me today.
Insider trading.
Insider trading. So because of that, that guy said, if he go preseason for Nottingham, he do like he don't be in them sign and finish with them and tell us he they go do medicals the next day. He report to duty boko for Nottingham. You know they want trouble. Right, and maybe the saving grace is that move doesn't pan out, right? And Gibbs White stays at Nottingham, and then that's one less competition for Kudus, and then he gets to cement his position. But these are like you are playing against the people that won the Europa League. I know I'm not a big fan of Tottenham or whatever, but there's such a level of cult following that they've built. They will never forget them. They are the guys that won us a European trophy. Wow. Do you think they are forgetting them so easily and saying, because of Mokudus trash Kulusevski or trash Brendan Johnson or whatever? No. And those players too are coming into this season with renewed hope, renewed vigor to stake their claim and say, yeah, we are really here. We are the ones who did it. So it's going to be a very tough season for Kudus. For Ghana's sake, for the purposes of our World Cup qualification and progress as a nation, I really do hope that he's able to take it up, do what we know he can do, and cement his name as one of the first names on the team sheet of Thomas Frank. If Thomas Frank loves you, right, you will play. If he loves you, if you be a boy, forget. If you the full self, you go play. So he has this.
Play safe.
You go play safe. We go beg and say, Thomas, please, Thomas. So my hope is that in this period where he's going for training and everything and embedding himself into the club and saying, "Oh, if you check my heart, you see Tottenham there." Yeah, all of this is nice when the sound bites, but the play is the ground I'm running from. When Thomas says, "Pro, let's run," he must give 100%, right? He must give 100%. He must take on board Thomas's instruction and execute it to the highest possible level. He must come to that training pitch and everybody must know that Ghana's star boy has arrived. And it's not going to be a dog walk for anybody to come into the starting 11. Because Tottenham are not the kind of team that you can just walk into and say, well, because I'm a 60 million or 55 million pound signing, I'm starting. Bro, boy. Because Brennan Johnson is also 50 million. So,
and I think also another thing that might work against him is the fact that he wasn't their first choice. Because obviously Mbeumo was their first choice. And then from Mbeumo, they actually moved to Antoine Semenyo before the Kudus deal just came up and they realized that West Ham were willing to drop their demand. So I don't know whether that one might play a major factor in anything, but it's just something also to be considered. But again, back to the debate we had back when Kudus joined West Ham. We had a huge debate on this podcast about whether it was the right decision for him, because at the time Brighton were also heavily interested. So we're actually
I think they had agreed a deal, isn't it?
Yeah. So we're actually
agreed
debating
a deal before
whether
West Ham came in.
Yes. So we're debating whether Brighton would have been a better move for him than West Ham. And I think a lot of us were actually leaning towards a Brighton move for him. So now, can we say that that's actually the move he should have made? Do you think, considering Brighton's track record with developing young players and moving them on to bigger clubs, particularly Chelsea, can we say that then they enter the mine inside, go find some gold and things. Galamsey boys, they go find the gold and they go polish them, then sell them to Chelsea for them to buy them.
Then they cook some boy big give we Baleba. Next year we go take one a boy. Make it
Baleba,
just
be you know, you pay you don't want them. So what's hold on,
bro?
Yeah, if we finish the layoff on our staff and things, you know, go see me for the market.
First of all, you then in Bremo they look. Do you know how? Sorry, I digress.
Cancel on Wi-Fi subscription first. Then you go see something. We go show you something.
See, do you know how crazy it is that you guys started? Like we got Man United are closing on Mbeumo when Chelsea and Mike Mignon were doing negotiation. In that period, Chelsea have signed Delap, Joao Pedro, Tottenham have signed Kudus. What be the name? Arsenal.
We get the idea.
Arsenal have signed Zubimendi. They've finished Norgard. They've signed or they've agreed a deal for Victor Gyökeres. They've signed Noni Madueke. They've signed Arsenal to them sign players. Mascara or whatever in name be.
God's time is the best.
AC Milan. You know how crazy it is? AC Milan have signed Modric.
So, in summary,
Real Madrid have signed what be the Trent and even got a
new
coach.
So, in summary, yes, we all wish Kudus the best. We are hoping that Charlie.
Let me give a comment. I still think that West Ham move was good for him in the grand scheme of things. Look, let's look at that Brighton right hand side, right attacking midfielder space, and how many players they've turned over in this period. They had
none of them are as talented as Kudus.
Sorry?
None of them are as talented as Kudus. Adingra and things.
Well, they have Adingra. They have what's that guy that played last season?
Adingra said then sell him to Sunderland now.
Yeah, but they had some other guy, not just Adingra. There was another guy.
Enciso.
No, is Adingra the guy from Burkina?
Adingra I think Ivorian or something.
Yeah, but they had another guy there, another African, Yankuba Minte. If we hear they talk about Brighton have had Minte, they've had this guy Solomon Adingra, they've had Enciso, Joao Pedro, they've had what's the Japanese guy's name?
Mitoma. Mitoma is a left winger.
Look, I'm just looking across because Brighton, they don't necessarily they started to play a very fluid front line. So people move around and all of that. And I wondered to myself, one at the time, the coach that really wanted him was what's his name? What's this guy's name that he's going to Brighton's former coach? Deserbi. And now that he has and Deserbi left, what was the guarantees that that coach, the new coach that has come, the Herzler, whatever his name is, would have kept him and played him where he wanted to play? Do you understand? Because he also brought his own ideas and they played a bit differently last season. So at the end of the day, I don't know if Brighton would have worked. It's a matter of we all don't know. All we know is that he went to West Ham. In his first year, he balled out. Last season was very poor in terms of numbers, in terms of goals and assists. But still, he still did more kudos, highest percentage of dribbling across the league. You know, he created chances and all of that. He just didn't shine as much as we know he can. And that is the standard. It's because we have him at that standard. Big players sometimes have off seasons, and it's perfectly fine. I will not be surprised at all if this season starts and he explodes once again. What he has to now do is to perform consistently across 38 games in the season in the Premier League, do well in the Champions League, which is something that he's done before. I want him to play in Tottenham in a way that when you think Tottenham, the first player I think about is Mo Kudus, best player in that team, undoubted, right? And that's what I wish for him because Eja, he's our only star boy we've got, right? He's the only star player that we've got. He and Semenyo, right now, Semenyo has decided to hitch his camp with Bournemouth. That's perfectly fine. I think it's a very good deal for him. But at the end of the day, Kudus has gone to Tottenham, and I hope for his own sake that he does really well over there because it will be a big shame for a player of his stature to also now come here and he's not performing, and 1 year from now he's probably looking for like some low move somewhere else so he can get playing time and all those things. It'll make me really, really, really sad. It'll make me really, really sad.
So, in summary, we wish Kudus all the best at Tottenham.
Yeah.
That's the one player who, when he's moving to a club that we don't support, we wish him the best because
Mm-hmm.
Charlie, his success is our success. So,